the clay lightener because it dries up, but then it dries up too fast and you're not getting the process you want. This creates a cocoon that is still processing inside. And I know a lot of clay lighteners say they're like that, but I've tried them all and they all just dry up and crumble off the hair. Going underneath, painting it, blending it very nicely, working my product with my hand all the way down, creating that saturation. All right, got a little bit there. And anytime you see like if a little piece of bleach goes somewhere, rub it out, use your fingers, don't be afraid. And I'm just laying everything on top of each other. You can see the head, I like to keep a lot of darkness here because I want enough darkness that those blonde pieces by her root are gonna pop very nicely. Working my product onto the tray, blending up. It's really such a fast service, such a fast motion. Building it up. If you get those, you see those little dots that happen, I like to take my finger, blend them right out. Using my hand to blend everything smooth, to lay it, you're overlaying on top of the hair. You're not pushing the product through, it's just laying on top, using your fingers. Everything underneath, that surface painting, nothing is bleeding through. That is due to the consistency of my lightener and the placement of it. Under here, I want this all to be extra bright, so I'm blending that out so it's a smooth blend, but I'm also fully saturating through the very ends of her hair. Bringing this back down, building a little bit more product. Perfect. Good. Just like how blend all the way up to the root, using a little bit of my finger. Again, about an inch to a half an inch off the actual root. If you bring it to the root, you're going to get a hot root and it's not going to look natural. I'm not going for highlights, I'm going for sun-kissed, and I just want to bring some lightness into her root so she doesn't feel so dark. If she wanted to keep a very blended dark root and stay very true to her darkness, I would probably leave all this negative space and only blend up to about here. Do everything else I did everywhere else. All right. Like I said, these pieces are really tedious. Stay with me. We're going to get to the back of the head, and the back of the head's going to go so fast. It probably takes me like 15 minutes to get to the back of the head. I'm painting very big panels on the back of the head, which is much different than the sides of the head. I always try and take as much hair as I can on the sides of the head as well, so I'm not left with... I go a little bit further behind the ear. It's not right behind the ear. I actually go a little bit more back behind it. Alright, my sectioning is very much customized to each head of hair. It's not on purpose, it just falls that way. Taking this bead, little bit of a bead on the tip of the brush, and that allows me to precision paint. Really globbing it on. When I get down here, I like sometimes just lay the product on the hair and then work it out from there. Like I'll just put it on and really work it down, bringing it back up. I start like all over the place sometimes. I'm going to be in your way real quick, but this is what I mean by changing your body position. I need to get into the front of her head to get comfortable and be able to hit the point I want on her head. This is going to create a very soft money piece without feeling like a skunk stripe on the back of her, on the top of her head. You don't want your money piece to be like coming off the scalp, like out of the root. You want it to be a little bit off the scalp, otherwise it's not going to feel natural. And I think a lot of the time our clients ask us for this big money piece and you give it to them and it's way too harsh and they freak out because it doesn't feel natural. It's not soft. It's all about softness and natural. So, up on an angle like this, working my product, zone 2, building that saturation, and you're mimicking all the other sections. Alright. Blending all the way down and feathering it out, just like so. Feathering. See how soft it is? It's going to look thrown out. This is going to process exactly how it looks. It's going to be a very soft blend, and it's going to go into a lot of brightness. What you see is what you get with this. However you apply your lightener, however your placement is, the lighter saturation, the lighter amount of lift you get. The heavier you saturate the hair, the more lift you're going to get. That's how you control the lightness with balayage. It's your saturation. It's not your volume, your level of volume. 40 volume, I paint with 30 all the time. Understand, developers are not how high you lift, it's how fast you get there. So you can use a 40 developer and get the same lightness as you can with 20 developer, but you're gonna get there faster. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna be busting open that cuticle a lot faster, and the integrity of the hair is gonna be more compromised if you were to just go in with 20 or 30 and spend the time to let it sit. It's not how high you lift, it's how fast you get there. The developers, the speed, it's not the lift. The lift is in the saturation. The lift is already in the tube of color. Building that all the way up. Finishing up this piece, and then we're gonna head to the back of the head. I'm gonna show you how fast I get to the back of the head and how simple it is. It's not as detailed in the back because we're looking for all of that gradiency. We're looking for all the depth to be behind the head because the sun isn't shining in the back of the head. The sun's not shining inside of the hair back there. Okay. Laying this piece just like that. You get little pieces like this. Sometimes I take my comb, go in, but those aren't going to do anything. Just leave it. The more you touch it, the more it's going to start to come off the hair. Once you apply it, don't paint this. You want to go underneath and make sure we're painting this as well. That's how it's. That's where your ponytail is going to pull. You want to see that lightness. All right. Going in. I'm laying down all those flyaway hairs. Let me know if I'm in your way. Make sure you guys can see this because this is the key. Right now, I'm going to take some product and put it on the hair. She's got a little bit of a curly textured hair, so I want to smooth that out so I have a clean surface. Now I'm going to take my comb and brush through it just to manipulate the hair. So now I have a clean surface. Now I'm not painting and on lumps and I can do a smooth paint. All right, I'm going in, making sure my tension is good. Working my product on my plate and building beams of light underneath her hair. Beams of light. Any hairs that fall down when I'm painting, I sometimes just leave them there because that's just going to leave for natural effects. Like these, just let them flow. So now when she pulls back her hair, she's going to have that beautiful blend as well underneath. It's going to process exactly how it looks. That's going to be part of her ponytail. Right, building my product. Now this is going to be a tricky section because when you go to lay it down, it's going to fall a little weird and you might panic, but just let it be. This is just very easy, like let everything be. Once you like the way everything's blended, just lay it down softly and walk away. Don't try and like get your fingers in there and make it perfect. Now, I'm going to move my body because I have to paint a little bit differently. All right. I'm now painting. The hair is growing differently, so for me to surface paint this piece, I need to now change the elevation and change the angle. You can see how that's still painted surface under there. Let it be. It's going to fall over nicely, but I also want to paint on this because this is also part of the flow to the front of her head. Working my product down. Taking my brush a little bit different. Wherever the hair is growing, that's the direction you want to be pulling the hair in. So I'm going in, and I'm just going to do a very light blend on this side of her head because we have a lot of pop underneath. Blending that all out, very, very soft. This sectioning is going to make such a difference in your client's hair. A lot of girls, lived-in hair, most of the times you're living, it's just in a ponytail. So you want to make sure your hair is good for any type of style you put it in. Especially if they're going somewhere, brides, they're doing an updo for their wedding. Make sure you're hitting those underneath points so they look beautiful when they're wearing it up as well. Going all the way down to the very end. Using my fingers to apply my saturation, scooping it in, laying it on with my finger, just like that. Blending it. Done. Just leave it just like that. Gonna have to mix some more lightener for the back of the head. Going in. There are thicker sections back here. This is supposed to be thicker. Let me get my comb. She's got a mane and a half. So my sections back here, I want to be thicker. I'm not fully saturating these ends because again, I want more depth in the back of the hair. Those pictures you see on Instagram of all the girls, that's so much hair. Oh good, hold on, I gotta get a double clip on her. Those pictures you see that are flowing back, all that brightness in the front and all that depth and all those dimensions, because they left enough negative space out. If you're not leaving out enough depth, that's why you're not getting that ribbon effect when you curl the hair, because there's just too much blonde. All right, taking my sections, like I said, they're gonna be big, big panels, brushing out any of those knots, working my product on my paddle, making sure my consistency is smooth and creamy, but also not coming off my brush. I'm gonna lay these hairs down. That's my technique. I use a lightly product brush, swipe over it, it lays all those hairs down, allows me to see if there's any hairs that shouldn't be in that section. And now I'm building my product in zone 2. I'm applying it very heavy, very, very heavy. The hair is growing down, and that's why I'm pulling down. I'm not pulling out, because then there'd be give in here, and you get blotchiness because you're pushing product through the hair. So I'm working it down. I sometimes go down with my body, and now I'm blending against the grain. That's how I get that perfect blend. The faster I go, the better the blend. Look how simple that is. There's no teasing involved, there's nothing. It's just a perfect blend. I'm gonna go in and heavily saturate. Now this is what I'm gonna show you with clients who have thick hair all over. We're doing thicker sections back here. How you're only gonna be surface painting this, and you're not gonna be pushing products completely through. I'm getting down with the hair, because that's what you gotta do. You gotta get down with it. Bringing it all the way down. If I gotta get on the floor, I will. I'm surface painting. Can you see how that's the surface? I'm only painting on the surface. All the way down, taking my finger, making sure everything is smooth. And now, I'm going to, just on the surface, paint just like that. I'm not going to work the product through. That is surface painting. If you were to work product through this section of hair, it's going to be blotchy. It's not going to be smooth. It's not going to be smooth and blended. It's going to create hard lines in there. Make sure you're thinking about what's going to happen when you dry the hair. Wherever you lay the product is how it's going to process. So if you're pushing product inside, you know you're not blending it in there. You can't possibly blend the lightener on internal depth. So you have to make sure you're just smoothly placing it on top of the hair. When I curl this, think about this. It's gonna dry. This is gonna be really nice and light. There's gonna be darkness under it. I curl this piece of hair, now I have a ribbon effect. Slow, I'm wiping product and pushing it into the hair. If I go fast, it's building on the surface. It is not going inside of the hair. It's building lightly on the surface. My tension is tight. My movements are very gentle. Even though I look like I'm going crazy, it's a very light movement on the hair. I'm lightly tapping the hair. I'm building all this saturation. Building, and then I'm going against the grain. That's how I'm finishing it off. I'm not going to do this until I like my level of saturation in zone 2. I'm finishing it off. I'm blending all the way up. I kind of want to dance with the music. I kind of want to paint. When I'm listening to music and I'm painting, I feel like I have to paint with the beat. All right, going all the way down. This, you don't have to be anything you don't want to be in this industry. Create this person you want. Create the work you want to do. If you want to make something up, make it up. Try new things. Go outside of the box. Everything you learned, all those strategic foil placements aren't necessary. Create art. Be an artist. Be a visualist. I think that's what this is. It's just visualizing what it is you want to create and figuring out how am I going to create that. I know I want very smooth blends. I want everything to be nice and blended. So my solution is making it look blended so it comes out blended. All right. Oh, where are you going? So this piece of hair turned around and stuck to her cape. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it there, because why would I move it? It's still going to process perfectly fine. I'm not going to try and open up the hair. I'm just going to leave it, let it do its thing. Here we go. We're finishing up, going all the way down using my finger. Your fingers, your hands are your best tools. We're done. We're finished. This is our